Welcome back to the great conversation. We're so glad you're here, and we want to give a quick shout out and thank you to
Rough Habit.
Rough Habit.
I thought they might sound more intelligent.
Well, you thought wrong. But before we pour over that comment, let's pour some tea.
Absolutely.
We're having ginger green today. We might have a different drink next time you come because right now it's in the afternoon. And we can't have any alcoholic drinks right now.
Yes, we're going to have a selection of whiskeys and wines. What are you going to be having while you read the great books? We want to start some more community around enjoying the great books, right. The beverage, maybe a pipe if you're a leather armchair pipe kind of guy like our brother-in-law, but we're not.
I don't think Ben is. Yeah.
No.
He doesn't like that smoky.
No.
He doesn't even like the
So
smoky
are you going to pour tea?
Well, I was going to. But we've already poured all of our tea.
We've already poured like 5 times. We actually had to redo the video because I messed up the audio. But we digress. What is the mission of this podcast?
Right.
Because
why didn't we sound more intelligent?
And also, why are the great books harder than we expected? So why didn't we sound more intelligent, and what is our goal?
Right. So we do really want to thank Rough Habit. I think that was his name.
That's it.
Because you really pointed us back to our mission. And obviously we did not convey that in our first few videos. Maybe we were trying to be too scholarly. I'm so smart. Let me tell you what I think. And that's not it. We are just two young, kind of young, two young people. We happen to be married and we happen to be in love, but we're just two young people that have a life going on, and we did not get this liberal arts education like we really wanted it. And so we're like, let's jump into these books. Let's learn about them. We're not scholars. We're going to talk about what we're learning and our perspective and how our worldview kind of gives us insight into these books and how these books give us insight into the world.
Because we all approach these books from a worldview. We've all had how we've been raised, the experiences we've had, the domestication of our childhood. All plays into how we interpret and understand these books.
Right. And honestly, if you really look at what Hutchins was saying, Hutchins, sorry, I keep saying Hutchinson.
It's all good.
What Hutchins was saying in his introduction into the great books essentially is that this is an education for the common man, the man that has grown up in America or anywhere in the world necessarily and didn't get that education in his younger years or her younger years and now really wants to dive in. The authors of these books interpret themselves and then they interpret each other. And so with some effort, we can understand these books. And so yes, they are harder than we thought, but let's actually talk about why they were harder, because it wasn't just the content. We're in Homer right now.
Which the content is kind of hard.
Yes.
And we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, but let's talk about why it's really harder in the world that we live in today, in our society.
Yeah, so for context, we have 2 young boys under the age of 3, and she's pregnant with twins.
Yes. Twins.
Yeah.
That's why I'm having tea.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
So that is why we have a bit of delay between our last video and this video. She was in her first trimester feeling awful, and I just couldn't get her inspired enough. I did all my best, my absolute best, but I couldn't get her inspired.
I pretty much didn't get out of the chair except for to take care of my 2 young children that are extremely high energy and want to do so much. And I was in my pajamas till 11 o'clock most days.
Yes, and you're getting better. You're at 9:30 now.
I know.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
So we had this goal. I was going to read 20 pages a day of the Illiad, okay? And if you have started reading the Illiad, I know some of you have. We've had a comment saying it's a lot of falling loud armor and a bunch of different names. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
That comment, I feel like I wrote that comment. So thank you for that. Oh my gosh, it was great. And so
20 pages though, that was our goal.
Yeah, I got into 20 pages. Thank you for keeping me on track.
Yeah.
And I found that I was so overwhelmed. I just couldn't keep everything straight. Not only that, but I spent Saturday and Sunday, 2 hours both days, completely neglecting hanging out with the boys, hanging out with her.
Yeah. Nose in the book.
Yeah.
Take a pee, get a drink of water, nose in the book.
Nose in the book. And I do pee a lot, that's true. And so I found it very overwhelming. And so we had to pivot. And she couldn't get 20 pages.
No,
it was impossible.
Like I said, so we have a 2-year-old, but he's going to be 3 this month. Birthday boy. And then a 1-year-old. He turned 1 in May.
Yeah.
Both boys, both high energy, and then pregnancy on top of that.
Yeah.
I was lucky if I even opened the book.
Yeah.
And
I think you were on a good day, it was like 5 pages tops.
Yeah. But I do really want to talk about that in respect to, so our lives are busy. Everybody has their life going on, whether you are starting a business or you have your job.
Or you're in college.
Family dynamics.
Yeah.
I mean, friends. Just having fun because you get home from work and you're exhausted and the last thing you want to do is pick up Homer because you just haven't learned that love for Homer yet.
Yeah, I'm getting the love. I'm about 80 pages in now.
Right.
And I'm really starting to click with it. At first, and that kind of takes me to my second point, if I may.
Yeah.
I was really frustrated by Homer. Like we talked about, that comment that we got with like, it's a lot of armor and names. And I'm a big Star Wars fan. So like I can cope with like different names and weird planets and different towns. But the way it's written is less of like just this easy, natural story and more of like this documentation of very important people and information and their emotions and where they're going and what they're doing.
It was a culture that we haven't grown up in necessarily. Like, I mean, even though it's integrated into our society so much, but I think that was just a mindset because obviously
I'm feeling better about
Star Wars books are they're written at maybe 7th or 8th grade reading level,
really,
whereas Homer is maybe above that in just the symbolism and everything.
100%.
But once we really talked about, okay, Ben, you love Star Wars, why aren't you loving this story? Because I see it very similar.
Yeah, you were into it from the get.
Yeah. So once you kind of got that mindset, it was a little bit easier for you to grasp and wrap your head around, but then also realizing, okay, life is busy. We have a lot going on.
Yeah.
How many pages can I fit in by just sitting down and embracing it and saying, I want to learn from this. And I'm not going to just try to get those 20 pages because I want to actually learn from this. I don't want to just attain that goal. Yeah. And we just want to be honest with y'all that yes, they are hard. We're trying to learn from them. And really, once you kind of like get your mind around what the Illiad is and relating it to, oh, I watch Marvel movies all the time, or I watch Star Wars, or I read Star Wars. Okay, the Illiad can be kind of like that if I can get past how to pronounce all the names in my head.
Yeah, for me, is getting over that frustration of like, this is confusing. I don't understand. I don't know who all these people are. What are they doing? Why are they doing that? Why is somebody yelling at the other guy? Like, just settling in and being okay with sometimes not understanding exactly what's going on. But like what Annabelle said to me is, it will be explained. It will progress. And really, when I realized that and owned that, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like as I keep reading, they explain what's going on more and more. Or I sometimes have to step back a page and reread it. Mm-hmm. And so, that really was encouraging to me is like, okay, just work through it. Read it slowly and you'll get it. Right. So wherever you're at, just drop a comment below. Tell us how you're feeling right now while you're reading through the Illiad. That's where we're at.
And we're going to try to be like as vulnerable as we can be, not trying to be these scholars, but really being human beings that do have brains that can think. Yes. And maybe our interpretation of something isn't as thorough as a scholar. Maybe it's not correct in view of what a scholar might think. Maybe we're putting our worldview on it or trying to interpret it incorrectly. But that's why this community is here.
That's why it's a conversation. It's not the great books. What Hutchins said in the beginning, like we going back to, the great books are not to be finished. They are to be read. They are to be read over and over again. So next time we go through them, we might have a more accurate read upon them. But if we never read them at all, we're not a part of the great conversation.
This is our first time. Yeah. And yes, I at least read pieces in school.
Yeah, and I didn't at all.
Grade school, high school. Yeah. But it is just amazing to me how my perspective on life and when I see the Illiad as a whole, how it's so different than just reading a few pieces in school or having a teacher tell me about them. And that's what this is about. It's about self-education, and it's about having a conversation with y'all about it.
Yeah. So we're stoked that you're here. Yeah. Hang on with us, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. We'll be jumping into the Illiad.
See you later.
Bye now.